ain't no time to waste on a paper chase. She say this her cut like a taper fade. I'm the bomb grenade.
Man cave, this is your host, Tay Wiggs.
You got your co-host Mark Senior.
Hey man, first and foremost, Mark is gonna jump us off. Got the topics going. What are we gonna talk about first right now today?
All right, so we're gonna start off with the NFL. It's not NFL season, but there's been some news going around, in particular some high-profile players, trying to
Mm-hmm.
get out of a situation. We knew about Deshaun Thomas leaving the season, but since then, another quarterback of that caliber, Aaron Rodgers, a Green Bay Packer, who we thought would be for life, is asking out of Lambeau Field. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't think there's any suitors for that can. Of course, everybody wants Aaron Rodgers, but who can afford him? Who can offer the best package to get him? All those things that come into play when a player say, "Hey, I just want to leave."
Right.
Teams normally got to make room for him. So, do you think it's a situation out there that I haven't seen, I haven't heard expressed on Sports Center that Aaron Rodgers can land himself in that he
Right.
would like on top of that.
Right. The Aaron Rodgers news. I thought he was, like you said, it's gonna be a Packer for life, but I guess right now the place they call the Cheeseheads, it's kind of molded right now.
Right.
You're looking at that type of situation, what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. He's looking at Tom Brady and the success he had. He's looking at players like a Peyton Manning that moved to a different team and won the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers had won a Super Bowl almost, but I'm gonna say it's been about 9 to 10 years.
It's almost been a decade for sure.
So you're looking at where he's at in his career. He hosted Jeopardy. He got a new fiance once again. There's a lot going on for Aaron Rodgers. I think he's just looking at all the moves that everybody else making. I mean, look at the young team and the Chargers over there with the moves they made in the off season with the NFL draft. Look at the Cleveland Browns. Look what Bill Belichick is doing in New England right now. He spent the most money ever in NFL history in free agency. He had to revamp his defense ASAP, quickly as possible, and also get Cam Newton some other weapons as well. So you're looking at Aaron Rodgers, the places that he can land at. I'm hearing the Las Vegas Raiders. I think they've been trying to trade Derek Carr now for the last 2 seasons now, ever since that what's name got there, John Gruden.
Right, he definitely been on the trade block.
So you're looking at the pieces that you're going to give up for Aaron Rodgers. Will some teams bite on the Aaron Rodgers move? If you trade for Aaron Rodgers, you must win a Super Bowl now, not next year, not the year after next. You talk about a 37, 38-year-old quarterback who has very experienced. He still has a good receiving core up there with Devontae Adams. So when you look at other possible teams that could actually use him, I'm hearing the Miami Dolphins, trade Tata Tagovailoa, give up some first-round draft picks. I mean, when you look at teams like that, maybe the New England Patriots may take a stab at them. You might hear the San Francisco 49ers. Aaron Rodgers is from the West Coast. So the Denver Broncos. So you look at some of these team scenarios, who probably had a legitimate best fit for him. I'm going to say this. Yes, he grew up in warm weather. To me, the Denver Broncos makes the most sense. It's because he plays in cold weather up there in Lambeau. It wouldn't be nothing new for him, Marcus, to go play in the Mile High. So when you look at the teams you think he got a chance to, which teams you think is a good fit for the Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, out of those teams you name, I would go with a West Coast team. I think Vegas is the best situation if they're gonna, be willing to trade Derek Carr, which it sounds, that's all we've been hearing for the past 2 years. Or if somehow he can end up with Bill Belichick, But we know they still trying to test out Cam Newton there, give him like a fair shake since he had, the whole COVID virus last year that took him out of the lineup. It would have seemed like he was, kind of really getting in his foot in that offense. So I would say the absolute best would be him to end up a Patriot. But I think he want to end up on the West Coast or you got the Rams too, because I'm hearing. They kind of want to move away from their young starting quarterback there. So, I mean, either place, the Rams, Raiders, or the Patriots. I think those are the best situations for
Well, the
him
Rams,
if he wants to win.
right. Well, the Rams moved off of Jared Goff. They traded him to Detroit
Oh shit, you're right.
for Matthews.
You're
So
right,
you're looking at
right.
Matthew Stafford. So you're looking at the quarterback they got up there. I think they're fine. So if they do trade Aaron Rodgers, let's say hypothetically to the Broncos probably receive Devontae Adams. The Packers will get a first round draft pick, the 2022, 2023, and 25, a second round draft pick in 22, also a third round pick in 22 and 23, with wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver KJ Hamler, Danny Rison, line guard, quarterback Drew Lock, and cornerback Patrick Surtain. That's what some teams will have to give up for Aaron Rodgers. Would you want to give up that much access for an aging quarterback? Yes, he won the MVP last season.
True. Right.
You're giving up almost half your offense and some players of your defense for one guy, which means you got to go get more players for him to step up. So he's back in that same situation yet again.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the thing when players demand trade, especially good players. You know the team that you eventually is going to get you is going to have to give up like some of the reasons you want to go there in the first place. Like they have to give up a lot of talent in order for you to land there. We mainly see that in basketball. Somehow those teams, Brooklyn Nets, a prime example, they somehow always work it out. But in this case, you got an aging quarterback, unless you think he's gonna have like Tom Brady longevity, like 40 years old, still as I wouldn't say as good, but as effective when he was younger. Then you is worth the risk. But in football, you never know. He can play game one and have some sort of season-ending injury, and then it's like a wasted season.
Now, all honesty, let's be honest. Let's say you and the GM of your team, you need a quarterback. Are you willing to give up that many assets for a player, right? Like for somebody that old?
Like I said, no, not unless you think they're gonna. It's like a Tom Brady situation. Like we're gonna definitely be in the running for a Super Bowl or Super Bowl champions. Then you may, risk it for that type of reward. But if it's not like Tampa Bay was like the perfect situation for Tom Brady.
And
I don't think too many of those exist for Aaron Rodgers.
Right. Then too, you put a GM in a hot seat because you just don't want to win. You just do not just want to go to the playoffs and win a playoff game. It's either Super Bowl or bust.
Right.
And two, football is an unforgiving sport. You can go out there and get hit one good time, and you can be out for the rest of the season. You can miss 7 to 8 games. That can be a difference in your season. So I'm looking at for my answers. I don't think Aaron Rodgers. He's probably going to get moved, but I'm not willing to give up that many assets for a 37-year-old quarterback and an MVP. Just because now you got to go into a new system, a new city. You got to learn a new language of that offense. You got to get to know the players. So it's another learning curve. I think Aaron Rodgers, to me, he's a good quarterback, a great quarterback. He's not everybody keeps calling him a GOAT. He has one Super Bowl ring. I don't know what GOAT has one Super Bowl ring. Goats has more than 3. You gotta have more than 3 Super Bowl rings to be called a GOAT.
I definitely agree with that.
And you're looking at he plays in a conference, and his division is weak.
Yep. I agree with that too.
He gets to the playoffs, get bounced out a lot early. Like I said, I would not do it. I think just because John Gruden over there for the Raiders, he played Russian roulette when it comes to stuff like that. I think that'd be the ultimate deciding team that will probably move on from Derek Carr and probably trade him to Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers. Right. So now going to that, Julio Jones. then a Falcons receiver. Then if you come with a trade, they've been trying to trade him since the NFL draft. An aging receiver, can't stay healthy for the last 3 or 4 seasons. And most going to give you about 7 to 8.5 games that's going to be played. And teams, if they receive a phone call, the Patriots another team that's getting calls about them. I heard the Cleveland Browns even asked about Julio Jones. So
you kind of got to. I mean, a player his caliber, you kind of at least got to inquire, got to ask.
Yeah.
Even if you know it's a long shot.
So you're looking at somebody like Julio Jones at the receiver spot. Maybe go play out west. Maybe go play for the Arizona Cardinals. So you're looking at a team like that, a guy who always been the number one receiver. Do you think Julio Jones would be okay be a number 2 receiver at this point in his career?
No, I don't think so. Especially not. Yeah, I can't. I don't see it happening. Him being just complacent with being the number 2 receiver. He hasn't achieved enough, I think, as a team to be willing to be like the number 2 receiver on an okay team. If it was like a team where it's a clear number 1 guy and he's like going to be the clear like 1A or something like that, then maybe. But I just don't see it, especially with the lack of success he had. Like when they went to 1 Super Bowl and they pretty much blew it. They had the lead going into halftime, big lead to the Patriots, and then they blew it. That was his really only taste of a deep playoff run as the number 1 guy. So I don't think he'd be happy in a situation like that.
You don't think so?
No.
Well, why you say
that? Just because, like I said, he hasn't had that much success as a number 1 guy. They made it to the Super Bowl 1 year against the Patriots. They blew that big halftime lead, and then that was pretty much it. Like, they haven't. He doesn't get enough. Well, he hasn't had an opportunity to get, that shine, that primetime shine as a number 1 guy. And he may just be wired different, and be willing to accept, but I haven't heard any stories of him being that way. So
the one thing too, the NFL, the average lifespan in the NFL is probably 3 to 4.5 years. I think it's be Julio Jones either 9th or 10th season coming up. And me personally, I think it's the turf toe that keeps bothering him because that keeps coming up a lot too as well with the ankle injuries as well. So I think it's got a lot to do with the artificial turf. So you see a lot of teams in the NFL is getting rid of the fake turf and going back to real grass. I.e. the Carolina Panthers, where I'm here at, they actually dug up the old artificial turf and is going back to real dirt and grass, which is that'd be better on the knees and 2 on the ankles and the toes. So if you play on artificial turf and you get hit, it's pretty much like I ain't gonna say pretty much, it is that you're like laying out there getting hit and you get feeling that hit and you fall on the concrete. So I think the NFL is doing good with that, trying to save the body of the players, preserve it, because this year is going to be a longer season. Some teams buys are come later in the season than some others. So you're looking at some teams get the bye week probably no later than week 11. So that's a long week of football. You play 10 straight weeks of football, then you get a bye week. Some teams got their bye weeks early, like week 5, and got to play the rest down the stretch. So we're going to see a lot of different things, a lot of different players get involved. That's another reason why they, as well, for players like Julio Jones, added more people to the roster because you don't know who you're going to need in certain key game situations. So when you're looking at Julio, somebody's going to get him at a steal deal price because if I'm not giving him, like I said, I'm not giving him number 1 pick for Julio Jones either. I give you 2 2s and some 3s and some 4s. I can't give you a number 1.
I mean, his last season where he was like dominant, I was about to say it was like 2 years ago, 2018. Like he had an okay season last, 2019.
Mhm.
2020, like you said, he only played 9 or 8 games.
Right.
Uh, so it's like, and it's been, so his best season was 2015, and then since then it's been like a decline. So it's like his numbers aren't going up; they're going towards like a decline. It could be just because of his situation. Sometimes that plays a role. Like you're not happy at a certain place, even though you're trying your best. The
Right.
results, you know, it is not showing up, and you won't play to your best ability. So unless you think a new situation will revive him, I don't
Mhm.
know. I think his numbers is really has been on a decline except for 2018, where he had a Julio Jones type year.
Oh yeah, I could definitely agree with that too as well. On a player like Julio. Man, it's gonna be interesting.
I'm gonna say just stay tuned. Um, let's speak of this. You know, NBA playoffs is here. You know, our bread and butter with
Yes,
the
sir.
NBA playoffs. You know, and we're gonna talk about the play-in games. Uh, how this is our first year. This is our second year seeing it. What's this? Our second year seeing the play-in game, right?
Second year, yep. But
Yes,
this
second
year
year,
is
right?
not in the bubble. This year is not in the bubble.
Huh?
I said, yeah, but this year is not in the bubble, so
Uh huh.
that's the only difference.
So it's not in the bubble, right?
Right.
And what games in this playoff game that you was most excited to see?
Of course, it was Golden State and the Lakers,
The highest
and
ratings, 5.4
yeah,
million people.
and then after that game, and Memphis won. The second was the Golden State and the Memphis Grizzlies. Those were the two best games in the play. And I think the Eastern Conference games was a little lackluster.
Right.
Um, like all basically all the games were runaways on the East
Hmm.
side. The first Washington and Boston. Boston ran
Well,
away with that. Um, and
you had
then what
the
was it?
Pacers
The
got
Pacers
Pacers smoked
smoked
the
Charlotte.
Hornets.
Yep. And then when the Pacers met with the Washington Wizards, they got
They
smoked.
got
So it's
smoked.
like all those games was blowouts. But on the West, you know, they were pretty much more competitive. And then those two games was like the highlight of the whole play in.
Right. I mean, the playoff end was cool. I definitely like it. Like, I don't know if it's gonna stick around going forward. I mean, certain when you got blown out, I'm looking at the Charlotte Hornets. I live here in Charlotte. I keep going back to that. Actually, from Cleveland. I look at the Charlotte Hornets. They in that play-in game when I was watching it. My takeaway was they just okay, satisfied to be there,
To be in the play in.
playing. Like, hey, we made it to a playoff game. Anything can happen. They didn't come out and treat that game like a playoff game. I think the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, they bread and butter Marcus definitely been a three ball. I
Mhm.
think in that game they relied on the three ball a lot, just because Lamelo Anthony had. Maybe Lamelo Anthony. Lamelo Ball hasn't seen that type of pressure in that type of setting. Remember the Pacers? I think last year played in the play-in game before. It was one. No, they was the only teams in the playoffs. So you're looking at a team like that who already had that type of experience and turned the heat up another notch on the Hornets because the Hornets haven't been to the playoffs in quite some time.
Right.
And with the Charlotte Hornets not being in the playoffs for so long, and when they did get into a playoff end game, I knew this was come back and haunt them. The ghost
Mhm.
called Gordon Hayward. He is injured at the wrong time as well.
This is now 3 years, 3 years and counting. I mean, the very first, that ankle injury, first game in Cleveland. I don't
Man,
think you can hold that one against him because that was like a real freak accident.
right?
But since then, I mean, he hasn't been healthy since then, and that hasn't all been leg related injuries. He had some upper body injuries, arms, wrists. like fingers that's been keeping him out. So it's starting to look like he is one of those injury prone, semi like suited halfway all stars because
Right.
Boston surely needed him this season. You can tell that it wasn't as good. And then when Charlotte had him, forget a playing game. They was jostling around 5, 6, playoff seeds where they would have avoided a playoff game, and then LaMelo got hurt, and I think that messed up their momentum, and then tacked that on with Hayward getting hurt too late in the season.
Mhm.
That it showed in their spirit in that one playing game they had.
Right. And the next following night, the Pacers get blown out. I think the NBA stiffed them under the COVID protocol. We're gonna get in later into depth about that.
Okay.
Curious LeVert has to leave the game or couldn't play the next game because of the protocol. Now, I believe if he was there for the game against the Wizards, would we be seeing the Pacers right now playing today instead of the Wizards?
I think it would have been more competitive, but I think they still would have lost because that Washington Wizards blowout to Boston. I thought it was kind of sparked them. Like, yeah, we ain't gonna have that same performance coming
Right.
in the game too. And you saw Russell Westbrook and Brad Beal,
Right.
change course, and they balled out. So if they would have gave that same effort, I don't think adding Karis LeVert wouldn't have did too much. It
Hmm.
would just cut the L in half, maybe like not how much it was about 15, 20 to maybe like 5 or 6. It would have been just a closer game.
Exactly. When we go to the West Coast games, we look at those playing games. You had the Lakers, Warriors. Definitely, that was definitely one of the games right there.
It's an instant class.
Then you had the other game with the who played the other player? The Memphis Grizzlies
And
and
Spurs.
the Spurs. Now we're gonna start with the Spurs and Grizzlies. I was looking. Rudy Gay was trying to turn up, and he couldn't like really turn up.
He tried to turn
Uh,
up and turn the clock back.
right. He's trying to go back into Rudy Gay back when he was there back in '09, '10. I'm like, okay.
Mhm.
When you look at a player like a DeMar DeRozan in the Greg Popovich type of system, he still flourished in there with the numbers that he had this year. He could have been easily an all-star definitely in the East Coast.
Right.
Now coming out of they loss, do you see after this season? Do you see Popovich retiring from coaching, or do you see DeMar DeRozan going to another team? If you had to choose one, which one is more likely to happen?
I think DeMar DeRozan traded, and I think Pop liked DeMar DeRozan. I think Pop has he's got been you know ha- he had like a second act like where he can coach a building team because
Hmm.
he's been at the upper echelon of organizations, teams
Right.
winning for the last couple of decades. So
Hmm.
this is a change of speed for him, and he's like getting to teach some players some new things, build up a team. So I think he actually enjoys doing it. And I think like I said, I think he liked DeMar DeRozan, but in order for them to continue their rebuild, they're gonna have to get back. They're gonna have to trade DeMar and get back some younger assets, but more than just him, like some more modern day players, I would guess you would say, because DeMar DeRozan is the king of the mid range,
Oh
and
yeah,
I
for
think they're
sure.
looking for shooters, 3-point
When,
shooters to be
when you're looking at a player
specific.
of DeMar DeRozan's stature, if he do get traded or become an unrestricted free agent, what three teams you may think he might be the best suitable for in the near future? If you had to pick three.
If I had to pick three, I mean, naturally, I would say the Clippers.
Okay.
He's a LA guy. Um, if not the Clippers, maybe man, it's kind of hard to because the type of like I said, the type of player is he's the mid range. He's not doing the threes and
Right.
running gun. He's like a real half court, I would say, type player. So it had to be another playoff team. I really don't know. I would say the Clippers is his best bet because I think now they just need a third guy because their third guy is always in and out. It was Patrick Beverly.
Hmm.
Now they got Region Rondo. He's an old guy. He's a
Right.
old veteran. And then like, well, who's gonna be their third? Is never a solid third player that
Right.
helps those Clippers.
So if I had to pick 3 teams, I'm gonna say wherever team Kyle Lowry goes to, I think those two want to be paired back up just because the situation they've been in before, and they understand how they play on the floor. You know what I'm saying? The continuity together.
Mhm.
The three, I'm always say if you do want to go back, say Toronto got the door open for them. The Clippers not a bad pick, but I feel like the Clippers may trade Paul George. Kawhi Leonard I think Kawhi is a free agent after this season.
Yeah, he is.
So things can get ugly for the Clippers real quick. And I'm looking at DeMar DeRozan, Clippers won't be bad. Not the Rockets. The Raptors. I'm gonna throw this team in a dark horse team. Just hear me out before you say it. I'm gonna say the Miami Heat.
Oh, okay.
The reason I'm gonna say the Miami Heat, one of my guys in Victor Depot, been up and down injury wise.
Right.
He got everything fixed on his foot at the orthopedics with the heel. Now, since you have a foot problem, only one person know about foot problems in the NBA. That's Larry Legend, aka Larry Bird. Once you start hurting your feet, and your feet injured, you never come back the same player. You don't have that same explosiveness.
Mhm.
So you're looking at that. So we got to think about it. If Larry Bird had those type of injuries playing the converse of weapons, and you got Victor Depot playing in Air Jordan was like the most cushion, I believe he may get moved to another team. And I feel like DeMar DeRozan would be a perfect fit with them. Jimmy Butler. Jimmy played defense. DeMar DeRozan played defense. Like you said, the master of the mid range. He's the maestro of it. So if you give him up and let him go to Miami Heat with a Jimmy Butler, I think the Miami Heat just need another big man, another center to go along with Bam. Put Bam back in the power forward position. But anyways, but back to the DeMar DeRozan, I'm gonna say Heat, Clippers, and Raptors. But the Miami Heat being my dark horse team for DeMar DeRozan. I like what I seen from the young core. I thought DeJounte Murray, the San Antonio Spurs. I thought towards the end of the season he started to regress a little bit. Last year he's more tactful going to the hole. He's more impactful as well. So I look at some of the games he had down the stretch. I'm like, okay, he's doing some double doubles. But the one thing he need to work on, like you said, about the mid range. You need to find a consistent shot. He don't have a go-to move. A lot of guys nowadays in the NBA don't have go-to moves.
I definitely agree with that. And I think the Miami Heat is notorious for going after players
That they want.
veteran players that know how to play the game. Look at Andre Iguodala,
Right.
Jimmy Butler getting there. So that Heat culture would definitely take
Different.
DeMar DeRozan
It's
to
different.
to a different level because it's just different there.
Right. Look at this young Memphis Grizzlies team. Ja Morant. Ja Morant. He been balling.
Mhm.
But you know who else been balling though?
What's
Dylan.
that? He always play
Dylan Brooks been balling.
high
So he
energy.
look high energy guy. I'm liking how he stepped up to to how he was defending. How he defend certain players in certain situations. Like in that Spurs game on DeRozan, stepping up trying to guard a player like Rudy Gay to keep him contained. And their coach over there was his name? Was it John Jenkins? His name of their coach for the Grizzlies.
I think
When
that's
you're looking
right.
at when you look at that young coach like that, he make them guys believe. Like John Morant is serious. He's tough.
Yes, he
He
is.
stand up, take over the game. Like we're gonna go for instance, we're gonna go back and forth between the games. We're looking at different picture frames. So I'm looking at how he stepped up in the Spurs, then the Warriors, what he did in that game against Steph Curry. And you know, Steph Curry has gained a lot of respect from a lot of people just because we know that they're missing a piece, two pieces. The rookie, James Wiseman, who went down with the injury. Then you're looking at Klay Thompson, who had the freak action that happened after he got cleared to go into practice and injured. He got injured again. So you're looking at a player like those two guys that are missing, a rebounder, another set shooter, and another defender. Now, we said it before that with Klay Thompson out, that team's like minus 11 wins. We know another 11 wins, they would be definitely, or 12 wins, they would definitely be either first or second place without a doubt.
Right.
When you look at somebody like a Steph Curry going at John Morant, and they was just leaving John open for a three. And John's like, I'm shooting him. He was cashing in.
Right. He was like 4 for 5 at one point. And he eventually went on with 5 for 10 or something like that. So
Right.
he made half his threes after like just a week ago. He took like 5 fewer threes than he did. So I think he ultimately shot 10 threes last game. Majority of them wide open because, like you said, it was just giving him a shot. And then flash forward a week ago when they were fighting for the 8th seed against Golden State, you know, he kind of shot away from taking those shots. You know, he kept him from being aggressive. And I think he turned that around like that in that quick time frame. He turned that around immediately, and that was the reason why they eventually won the game.
Exactly. Like you said, attack. Because when he's get under the rim with the 5 to 10 feet above the rim, he's pretty much automatic because he's another person who has a nice layup package, just like Kyrie Irving. So you're looking at John Morant, he's a finisher. What I like about his game, he's a passer. Got a good IQ and understand the game of basketball. I thought the hungry team with the play-in game, even though it's not the playoff game, it's pretty much like the extended version or the bonus round of the regular season. We're gonna take these last 4 teams, 2 from each side, or 4. So we take the last 4 teams, 4 from each side. We're gonna make them grind it out for this last spot. And they trying to bring that culture back to the NBA where y'all can't keep tanking, man. You guys have to play a full game of basketball. We can't take days off because they're making the product look bad. The NBA views are down. So you look at the NBA views are down. They gotta find some way to get their viewership back. People, fans, just due to the COVID-19, you can't go to certain games. Still gotta be masked up in certain places. But going into the next season, we will be fully at full capacity. So you're looking at John Morant. He's going to win an MVP sooner than later. At some point in his career. 2, if Jaren Jackson can stay healthy with John Morant, that team right there is dangerous. A healthy Jaren Jackson, I can see them probably a 5 through 7, I'm gonna say 5 through 7 seeded team in the Western Conference next year. They can actually be one of those teams, a top echelon team, because they definitely just, I'm gonna say they're another piece away to get where they have to go.
All right. Like I think these playoffs is going to teach them a lot about their team. I give them a slight chance of upsetting Utah, but I think it's gonna. If an upset doesn't happen, it's gonna grow them like exponentially for next season, and they'll know exactly what they need heading into the off season. And some of it is not even extra players, you know, just guys stepping up their game. You know, like we said, John Morant stepped up, made those big threes yesterday. I think he gets more consistent in his 3-point shooting. They get one more player to go along, Dylan and JJ,
Mhm.
and they are right there in the top 5 teams in the West for
Oh,
sure.
right. If you go now, Lakers, Warriors, in that game, Marcus. In that game right there, when you watched it, what did that game feel like? Just watching that game before the hype, like right during jump ball. Did that have like a playoff game or more of a finals feel to it?
Um, I think it had more of a finals feel to it because that's you know LeBron James and Steph Curry is something we used to seeing, but in the finals, and it felt like it had that type of stakes around it, like a game 7 in the finals almost.
Right.
And I think the Lakers at first, the first half of that game was really trying to get a rhythm with LeBron being back in the lineup. Um, LeBron and AD and Dennis Schroeder, like they had
Mm-hmm.
all their guys for once, out of the last 2 months.
Right.
And I just think it took them a while to figure out which lineups was the best. And then once they, found that lineup with AD at the center spot,
Mm-hmm.
I think they really took off, and it took the game to another level as well because the Warriors came out with that energy. Steph, including all the role players. You got Poole, um, was it Toscano?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Jordan Poole had a great game.
like those guys came out in both games and played really above what you expect from them.
All right, I like that. Uh, I think when Klay Thompson come back, man, I feel like they had Harrison Barnes, right? I just feel like they got a Harrison Barnes negative 1.0 Andrew Wiggins. Just hear me out. This is no disrespect to Andrew Wiggins. This is just what I see from the basketball side. Key game situations, right? Clutch game situations. You need that big shot and that big stop. He don't get that stop. Same thing Harrison Barnes do. Can't hit for some reason. They cannot hit that 15-footer or that 3-point ball to seal the game or take the lead. Wiggins came up short twice in the fourth quarter in a key game situation where a person like a Jordan Poole and Tassiano delivered. Even Kent Bazemore was delivering. Just because I'm saying this because you would think Andrew Wiggins, he give you the flashes that he can do it. He is not that consistent. Draymond Green hit a clutch 3 in the closing seconds.
Thought the world was about to end when he made
I'm
that.
about to say, Draymond open? You know, if Draymond hit 1-3, you know he talking trash.
Right.
He's about to come defend you and give you a hard foul. That's what he always does. But I think once Klay comes back, I believe they may move Wiggins and put Jordan Poole in that spot. Jordan Poole, since Indiana watching him play, he plays with that aggression. He's not scared. He lives for the moment. Talking trash to AD. AD said, man, who are you talking to, man? Like, you just got here. You can't be talking trash to me. First half, I think AD had like 4 points. Second half, I think he finished the game with 20-something points. So one thing AD said, you can't poke the bear. I'm going to say one thing about that series. It had more of a game 7 feel to me of the NBA Finals because we know what LeBron James, we know what he definitely brings. We know what I'm going to say Klay Thompson didn't play, but you know what those type of players bring. We know what Steph Curry brings. We know what Draymond brings. You know what Steve Kerr brings as a coach, and he sees the floor differently. LeBron James is very smart. Steph Curry is too. Steph Curry would just shoot the ball from long distance, but he just be dialing up 1-800. Call AT&T. Like the range is unlimited with a player like him. I know it hurts for the Golden State Warriors to go home. I feel
They were
like if
so
they
close.
did, huh?
So they were so close.
Yeah, I feel like if they did get in and play the Utah Jazz, I think I would have took the Warriors in 6.
You're right. I mean, I don't think I disagree. I mean, because that would have been just the right momentum they needed. You know, they got over the hurdle of the play in, and now they in. And then Steph was like them last couple of weeks, he was on another level. So with with Draymond and his Steph and Kerr, like that experience of these last couple of years, I think it would have been just too much for Utah to overcome. Like it's not so much on the job learning you can do in that type of situation.
All right. After the year they had the Golden State Warriors, we can't call it an A+ because you only get an A+ when you win a championship. If you had to give them a grade right now on how they finished their season off, honestly, what would you give the Golden State Warriors?
I would give them like a B minus.
Okay, okay.
Just because their role players started to catch a rhythm at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Steph was playing at an MVP level. Draymond on the defense and facilitating in was playing how like the Draymond. He just wasn't there offensively. And then you take that on with it, if they add Klay Thompson and Wiseman, or if they trade Wiseman and get other veteran players for him, that's another team in the top 5 of the West, and we running out of teams.
Right.
This every year is going to be a situation in the West where a good team will end up in a play-in and either barely making it or not making it.
Right. Me, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna get a Golden State Warriors a solid A.
Okay.
I know they didn't make it to the playoffs, but like you said, I look at the turmoil, players getting injured. Steph Curry literally put the team on his back. Like at first, they had them not even making the playoffs once Klay Thompson games. So they didn't make the playoffs. But to get where they was at, to get that close, but didn't get in. Right there at the door. Right there at the door, Marcus. You seen Polar Express? Right there. They had that golden ticket to get stamped. But it was right there.
Mm-hmm.
I like what I'm saying, like what Klay Thompson was saying. I like what I saw from this team this year. They played with so much character, poise. Other players stepped up who you thought was going to step up. Jordan Poole, Mark Mulder. You're looking at Kent Bazemore. Guys that stepped up. Like they was Tassiano. These dudes didn't stepped up. So if you bring in the Klay Thompson, maybe another big name, this team can be right there again.
Right.
But not in this situation. They can be right as a number 1, number 2 team in the West with the right pieces. And don't get it wrong. Oh, they will find another piece. Me personally, I think they probably will move on for Draymond Green at the end of this season.
Okay.
I feel like they trade Draymond Green and they can get like a player they've been watching another team for the low for a steal. Go to say be winning right there again. They right there. They only a piece away from being back in the NBA Finals or maybe hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy. So you're looking at that. Go to the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James playing against the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Great game. Pacing himself like you always do. Marcus, I think I was telling my neighbor this. How you think about that game? I said LeBron James is the master of manipulation. Hear me out.
Okay.
Lost a couple of games on purpose. Down the stretch.
It seemed like they did.
He lost the first game and playing the game on purpose. They knew they can come out there and beat the Warriors, but I thought they was playing with fire once they was doing that because at first the Warriors was running them out the gym, literally, because you couldn't get enough from AD. AD is fine China. He always on the ground. If he fall, he may shatter something. LeBron James is the actor of the year. Kentavious Caldwell Pope is iffy. You don't know what you're going to get. Dennis Schroeder, another one. I just feel like that team is at their best when Dennis Schroeder is attacking and passing. LeBron James is doing the same thing too, attacking and passing. I don't need AD. You don't need no threes from him. Play under the rim. Play right there under the rim. And I thought when they got Andre Drummond, I thought it was going to be a great pickup. Right now, it don't look so good.
Like, yeah, he got played off the floor. Like, they couldn't even play him.
Right, like you're 6. What is he? 7? What is it? I'm gonna say 6'11" for the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna say he's 7 feet tall. 7-footer Marcus gets the ball right up in mid in the air. Why is he bringing it back down to get the ball swiped out? Keep it up high and dunk it. Do miss a lot of layups, a lot of dunks. To be that tall.
He's the only big man in the league or player. I don't think it's anyone else has more missed dunks than him.
Not exactly. Like, how do you miss it? And he be trying to shoot the little soft hook shot. And he be airballing that. Attack the ball. Attack the rim with some authority like he did in the first quarter against the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, he got round the floor because they moved Draymond Green to the 5.
Right.
He won't want to keep up with Draymond Green.
Nope.
So I'm looking at Montrezl Harrell. I think he got lost in the sauce too because Drummond is taking up a lot of those minutes.
Right. Now they got 3 centers.
So you look at a person with a contract like a Drummond, it's almost like I have to play him.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got somebody like Marc Gasol is getting back into the mix, finding that stride just because he has that playoff experience and he also has an NBA championship. Andre Drummond has neither nor not one of those.
Nope.
So when I'm looking at this team right here, the Los Angeles Lakers matching up the Phoenix Suns. This is the reason I say LeBron James is a master of manipulation. He had the Clippers and the Nuggets so scared they start losing games on purpose so they can avoid to play the Lakers.
Right.
The Lakers say, you know what? It's cool. We're gonna take the easy way through. We're gonna play the Suns. At best bet, we're probably gonna beat them in 4 or 5. We're gonna go rest up. We're gonna let the Clippers and Mavericks bang it out, right? And we're gonna let the Trailblazers and the Nuggets go at it. LeBron gonna have an easy first round game, which he know. He probably says, "Hey, look, guys, look, one game at a time, but let's go ahead, let's sweep these guys. Let's go for the 4-0 sweep,
right?
So we can get them extra 2 days of rest." Because he won that game against the Warriors the other night. That dude was off for 2 days.
Right.
And he
got
broke
triple-double.
And a triple-double. And he broke the COVID-19 protocol. And like I said earlier in the show, I said, Kyrie's avert broke and he couldn't play. But they let LeBron James play though. That boy Adam Silver is like in the bird box.
I didn't
He ain't
see
nothing. This is a LeBron-driven league. Just imagine if LeBron James had to sit down for 7 to 10 days in COVID protocol.
That was never happening.
I
seen that, and then the next thing I saw was reports that it wasn't that many people enough to for it to be a breach in COVID. Like, was it 3 people?
From what I seen, you had Drake, you had the whole OVO, you had Rich Paul there. I mean, you probably even had DJ Mel there too. LeBron throw parties. He was doing a campaign thing for his Drake that he always sponsored. What's it called? Lobos?
Yep.
All right.
Lobos.
It was more than 7 people there.
I'm sure. Definitely. Probably closer to 100.
Right. More.
Unless they can prove that they all had it was all vaccinated.
It's the king. LeBron ain't vaccinated.
He ain't.
You know Drake ain't vaccinated. Like, it's so crazy. He's Canadian. No disrespect what I'm about to say. He can fly in the U.S. with no problem, but the Americans ain't go to Canada. I'm just saying.
Well, no, yeah, he was Canadian bound for a while there. You know, he couldn't lead a border. Um, I think Lil Wayne mentioned it recently in one of their songs, like, you know, he was trying to free Drake from Canada. But after that flight was lifted, he was moving more freely than Americans.
Right. So I'm looking at this. So now we got all 16 teams now playing for the NBA championship. The first team to 15, we know wins, or it may take longer. For sure, it may take some teams 20 games. So you're looking at this right now. We go. Let's go through some of these first round matchups right now. All right. Milwaukee Bucks, Miami Heat. Right.
Right.
Who do you like in that series right now? Milwaukee's a 3 seed. Miami's a 6 seed. We know what the Miami Heat did last year to the Milwaukee Bucks in the bubble.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going 7 games.
Oh, he said 7.
But I think Milwaukee, they walk away with it this time. You know, we already saw in game 1, they showed some resiliency, some toughness that they didn't have in the bubble last year to win game 1. You know, albeit in overtime, albeit pretty much in the last possession of the game. But I think that alone shows you that they have, you know, grown enough to defeat Miami. And I think this year there's not a lot of hype behind them. So they kind of been under the radar. You know, because it's been we had some pods where I just completely left them off my top East teams, like just forgot about them. And I think that's a good thing for them. You know, I think they get over the hump. I think they beat Miami this year, you know, in 7 games.
All right. I'm going to say this. Key additions. Milwaukee Bucks, Drew Holiday, definitely great pickup. Scorer defender, very, very unappreciated in the league.
Right.
I'm going to tell you who class I put Drew Holiday in as a point guard wise. You probably know this name, Andre Miller.
Okay.
Great point guard, offensively great defensive ball player, has a high IQ. Same thing like Drew Holiday. Understand the game, knowing to take a shot, knowing not to take a shot, knowing to make that pass, knowing to step up a defense. He has all those tools in his box. Another great pickup, PJ Tucker. Give them a wing defender. That's what they was missing because Jimmy Butler last year was basically having his way on Chris Middleton. Now, guess what? Chris Middleton don't have to guard Jimmy Butler because now, guess what? I got PJ Tucker, who's a dog in the defensive end, can guard Jimmy Butler, can take some of that stress. I can be more fresh down the fourth quarter, like what we seen yesterday.
Right.
So I thought that was good. Miami Heat. Tyler Hero.
Had a rough year. He kind of came on late, but he had a rough. Him and Duncan Robinson had a rough year. Whereas last year, them guys was on fuego in the bubble.
So I'm gonna say about a lot of teams was playing good in the bubble. A lot of guys, like I said, some of those like they first year in the NBA. So for your first year in the NBA to have no fans, and you was used to
trial run, right?
Right, it's a trial run. So now you get a little bit of fans. Now you get a little bit of noise. The tension is high because you got the fans right there looking at you now. In your mind now, I gotta hit this shot. So now you're getting them back into an element they're not used to. Now they hear a real hardcore fan is booing and cheering. They don't care what type of night you have. The only thing the fan want, if you wide open, I don't care how many games you go to, we want the home team to always score. We want them to score every trip. So if you miss a couple of threes in Miami, Heat culture, whoever, they gonna let you know. Those fans gonna let you know what's going down. So I'm looking at Tyler Hero, what he's gonna do. Because he, like, to me in the play, he showed up late, but you need him to be. If Jack Harlow make a song about you, you're supposed to be delivering every single game, and he's not doing that. So that's what I'm looking at right there. Like, he has to play up to those expectations. I'm gonna say this right now, Marcus. Game 2 is tomorrow night. That's on TNT. Milwaukee leads. If Milwaukee go up 2-0 and go back to Miami, I believe Miami's still a game in Miami. I like my chances to say Milwaukee in 5.
Oh, going 5. Yeah, I think Miami get at least 2. I know I'm saying in 7, but I think they get at least 2 at minimum.
All right. Philadelphia and the Washington Wizards.
Mhm.
Game 1's be playing right now today. The 76ers is and the Wizards.
Mhm.
In this series, we know Russell Westbrook a couple years ago. Him and Joel Embiid talk trash to each other and stuff like that. We know sometimes Russell Westbrook can get the best of Joel Embiid. So when you're looking at the Brody versus the process, how many games this series is going? Who's going to be the X factor in this series for them to win for both teams?
I'm gonna go for both teams. Bertans on the Wizards.
Okay.
I think he's an X factor just because of his shooting. That's it. That's all his shooting makes him an X factor. And then on Philly, I'm gonna go with their young defender. What's his name? Tybal.
Yeah.
I think he has a chance of being a real defensive star in these playoffs. Because if he can be put on Westbrook or Brad Beal and do a number on them, because they also got Ben Simmons who's in the Defensive Player of the Year running as well. I think his added defense can ultimately win not only this series but the next couple, because the East is really heavy in perimeter play, and he's one of the best at the year 2 or 3, whatever year he in the league. He's like the top 5 defender on the perimeter.
All right.
So Bertans and Tybal, and I don't know about. I'm gonna go chalk and pick Philly to come to win this series. I don't know how many games though.
I'm gonna say this. In this series, X factor. I'm gonna start with the Miami, with the 76ers. I'm gonna say the X factor. I'm going to say Tobias Harris.
Oh, okay. I like
Which
that.
I thought who should have been a candidate for most improved player as well. Just because he stepped up a lot when Ben Simmons is down with the injury this season. I'm looking at him. If he can give you a solid 17 to 15 points per game, that team's going to win. They're going to win.
More than enough. It's more than enough.
They're going to win because I like what he brings to another guy who actually is a good mid-range shooter. The J. Cole lookalike. He's a great shooter and he's a great defender, especially on the wings too, as well. He can knock that 3-ball down. I'm gonna say this: Washington Wizards X factor, because this person majority of the time is going to be on Joel Embiid. I'm gonna say Alex Lynn.
Oh, okay.
Not a household name.
At all. Out of Maryland, I wasn't expecting that.
Not a household name. If he can keep Joel Embiid under 25.
I don't think that's happened.
That team have a legitimate chance of winning the game. If you can keep him, and one thing we say about Alex Lynn, he's long. If he can get to the hole, at least create some type of foul trouble on the 76ers front court, I think the Washington Wizards have a legit chance of winning this series. But if I had to pick right now who's going to win this series, I'm gonna say give me the Sixers in 4.
Oh, you got clean sweep.
Man.
Okay.
Sweep. What's that broom call you get for Walmart? The O-Seater. Sweep them up.
I'm gonna give Washington one game in Washington for sure. Like I haven't. I don't. After this game, go off today. It's on right now. I have a better feel. But is either Philly in 4, like you said, or Philly in 5? I just can't see him winning more than one game. But I can't go out and say sweep either, though.
Okay. Next series, the Brooklyn Nets and the Boston Celtics.
This is sweet.
He ain't waste no time. He said sweet. Why?
Yeah. No Jaylen Brown. no Jalen Brown. We just talked. We talked about Charlotte. No Gordon Hayward. I think they needed him.
Mhm.
And I think Tatum he gonna go off a few games. I just don't think it's gonna be enough. Kemba's been playing a lot better. Them two together is not enough. And they haven't been without Jalen Brown. They're just not quite the defensive team. And I don't see it. Like Brooklyn is just too powerful. Like last game we saw James Harden came back. Don't look like he missed no games.
Yeah, smoothie Harden.
Right. Kyrie had 29. KD was just unstoppable. He had 32. And then Blake Griffin also chipped in. It's like it's too many people. It's too many threats on Brooklyn. But to just rely on Tatum and Kemba to just get them over the hump. I think if Jalen was there, it can go 6 games. But since he's not there, I think it's a sweep.
Just what I'm going to say about the Boston Celtics. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, Boston can't find no continuity. Where's their identity?" First of all, their continuity and identity starts with Brad Stevens.
Mm-hmm.
If they lose, I'm gonna go Stephen A. If they lose and go out in the first round, this is gonna happen. Brad Stevens, you should have took that job at Indiana University. You getting swept. They getting swept, Marcus. They getting swept. Kimball Walker catch fire too late. You can't get scoring from Marcus Smart.
Nope.
You can't get scoring from Peyton Pritchard. Tristan Thompson ain't gonna give you no score. You got 11 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 blocks from Robert Williams.
That's actually a good game for him.
Where else you get scoring from besides Jason Tatum?
Somebody else gotta have an out of body experience. Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker. They need a third. Evan Fournier. Evan Fournier, maybe.
Evan Fournier can't get no buckets in because he got that heavy basketball number on 94. Let's be honest. Thought that was a terrible trade. The Boston Celtics backcourt is loaded with point guards. No wing man and no big man. What hurt them is they got rid of Daniel Tice. A big man that can run the floor, who can step out, hit a jumper occasion or two. That's what hurt them. They're small on the glass side.
Right.
The Boston Celtics messed up. I think if they lose this, I can see Danny Ainge getting fired too.
Ooh.
That's huge. People ain't saying about Danny Ainge. Remember, Danny Ainge signed on to these guys sticking around, starting with the coach, with the players. I can see a person. I guess, like I said, they get swept. Kyrie Irving is too much. KD is too much. You got like you said, Blake Griffin. James Harden came back like he ain't missed nothing. Smoothie Harden. Then you got the other guys stepping up. Uncle Jeff Green, Blake
Harris,
Joe Harris, Bruce Brown, who they call Bruce Wayne. And he ain't playing nothing like Batman. But I'm telling you one thing, he's scrappy on defense. Yeah. That team has a lot. Claxton. So it's over. I'm sorry, Boston. Y'all had y'all run. Y'all got your 17, your 16 banners, or what the case may be. It's over. The game I am looking forward to, though.
Okay.
The New York Knicks.
The New York Knickerbockers. Right.
Derrick Rose. Julius Randle. RJ Barrett. I'm telling the story again. Met RJ Barrett in New York the day before NBA draft. They had like a meet and greet thing. You can meet the players, the future players of the league. Got to took a picture with him. I said, look, man, it may be ugly for the first couple of seasons. I said, give us some time. I said, watch, man, you're going to be in the playoffs. Just take time. I said, at the end of that, you got to believe in yourself. I said, all the other noise, cancel that out. Look where he's at now. NBA playoffs. With the most, I'm going to say, call it right now. Julius Randle, the most improved player.
He definitely is.
Thibodeau.
I think he's probably fourth on a lot of people MVP ballots, Julius Randle.
Yeah, he probably got some votes for MVP. Just think about where the Knicks was at. It was a laughing stock in the league.
Yeah.
You talk about easily one of the most wealthiest teams in the NBA. That team every year do about almost $5 to $6 billion easily.
Wow.
Playoffs or no playoffs. The New York Knickerbockers.
York Knicks.
In this series, this is gonna be a good one.
Yeah, I think so too.
You got the leading shot blocker on New York Knicks. Nolan's Noel.
Okay.
You got the leading rebound, Clint Capella for the Hawks. The left-handed assassin, Julius Randle. You got Ice Trey. Then you got Lemon Pepper Lou Will. Marcus. Who do you like in this series and how many games?
So it's a definitely it's a 7-game series for sure.
Uh-huh.
And I think it depends on what Derrick Rose do. I hate to put pressure on D Rose yet again. If D Rose play like how he's been playing those last couple games of the season, I'm gonna take the Knicks in 7 games.
So you go Knicks in 7.
But I think Atlanta's more talented. But if D Rose play, with how he's been playing this last couple weeks,
right?
I think it's enough to cancel, to just not cancel out Ice Trey, but like at least make it so it's not lopsided. And then you mentioned RJ Barrett. It's like they got a lot of sneaky talent in New York.
They do.
Yeah.
New York is playing with house money. I love house money because when you find house money in the house, guess what it's good for? You can spend it. I'm gonna say this, just because Derrick Rose has the most playoff experience in New York Knicks. Thibodeau has the most playoff experience with that team. And give it up for Nate McMillan, who could actually be, he got a bit of finals for Coach of the Year. He had them boys finishing strong down the stretch.
That's 3. That's now 3 organizations he didn't take from not being in the playoffs to the playoffs within like a year of him taking the job. Indiana, Portland. Nah,
it never get considered for Coach of the Year. Nah. I'm just saying. Just throw it out there. I'm gonna say this about this series. X factor for me, New York Knicks. The X factor would be Reggie Bullock.
Oh yeah, he's a sniper.
If he can hit those threes and be consistent on that end, Marcus. It's gonna be probably a long series. You say you like the Hawks or the Knicks?
I said the Knicks in 7.
You like the Knicks in 7? I'm gonna go Knicks in 6.
Okay.
Just because if it's man, look, Derrick Rose in the playoffs. I feel happy saying that because I haven't seen Derrick Rose in the playoffs in a minute.
Not playing well. I think he was on that Timberwolves team.
He's on the Timberwolves team, but he won that Derrick Rose. He used to come back from injury and stuff like that. Now this Derrick Rose right here. Now you talk about Derrick Rose with the dreads. Now he on his 10th signature shoe. He in New York. He's doing it big out there. And what I like about it, he come off the bench and give you a solid 15 points.
Right.
So they can put him in
speedy, quick to the cup, dunk on you, Derrick Rose. He's like savvy point guard, Derrick Rose.
If they win, Reggie Bullock gonna be the X factor. Everybody else will have to play their role. Now, for the Hawks, the X factor, everybody keeps saying John Collins and Trey Young. Those are nice X factors. Those are considered core players. Those are the stars of their team. You can't call them the X factor.
Right.
X factor's got to be somebody like a Kevin Herter for the Hawks. I'm going to say
Right.
this. If they want to win, X factor for the Atlanta Hawks,
We gonna go with.
you need him to step up big.
I got
You need
two players. Two players.
Cam Reddish,
Okay.
DeAndre Hunter.
Okay. I can see.
If you
both of
got
those.
DeAndre Hunter, Lou Williams, we know what he brings to the table. Kevin, I'm gonna say those three: Kevin Herter, DeAndre Hunter,
Oh, okay. So you
and
took
Cam Reddish.
See, I was gonna
These
go
guys,
Bogdan and Kevin Herter, but I can deal with that.
those guys have to be ready. Give me the New York Knicks in 6.
Okay. So that's the one we agree on. Not the same amount of games, but we agree on the winner.
Mm-hmm. All right, we can go to the West. Utah Jazz, Memphis Grizzlies in the playoffs. X factors and how many series would it take?
So this is the one where I said, I hinted at, I think it could be an upset. I think, yeah, I'm gonna go out on. I'm gonna say Memphis Grizzlies.
Mm-hmm.
In 6 games. In 6 games.
Whoa. Memphis is 6.
And I'm gonna take who's gonna be the secret weapon? I'm gonna go with can't really call him as X factor. I'm gonna go with Jaren Jackson as no. I'm gonna go with Jonas Valanciunas as an X factor.
Okay, I like that because you got to keep what's name contained, Rudy Gobert. If you keep Rudy Gobert under his season average, if you keep him under at least about 12 rebounds, under 15 points, man, your team definitely got a fight in chest. I definitely like that, what you said about those teams as well. When I'm looking at the Utah Jazz and the Memphis Grizzlies matchup, the X factor for the Utah Jazz, Marcus, I'm going to say, we know Jordan Clarkson pretty much going to be the most, 6 man of the year. And I'm just going to say, I'm taking on a limb and say X factor. I'm going to say Bojan Bogdanovic because he hasn't really been doing nothing. They've been in a quiet season.
Okay.
If Bojan can step up and if Bojan come out the gate tonight, getting you 25 with dropping with Donovan Mitchell, this series may be over in 4. But I'm gonna say him. But another person who'll get no love. I'm gonna say this though. I'm gonna say Royce O'Neal. Can he contain Ja Morant?
So I picked Memphis. So my answer would be no. But if he does, like you said, Utah in 4. Like if Ja Morant is not Ja Morant, this is gonna be over very quick. Very, very quick.
Memphis Grizzlies, X factor. This is gonna be tough. Titus Jones?
I mean, I don't know if he plays enough. Yeah, he can definitely, because he's he in the league he hasn't had that moment. But if you go back to his college days, the last time I think they won a national championship, and
I'll take that back.
Poised.
I'll take that back, Marcus. Don't give me Titus Jones. I'm gonna tell you the X factor is Grayson Allen. He played for Utah.
Another Dookie.
Right, another Dookie. Not to me like that, but if Grayson Allen come off the bench and give you valuable minutes, and they can win the game, and if You need somebody like Grayson Allen to give you like 12 points. He's the glue guy for their team as well. So you like the Memphis Grizzlies? Man, that's tough. He said you like the Grizzlies in 6. Marcus, you can give me man that 8-1 seed do smell upset. You got Jaren Jackson coming back. You got Valanciunas back, so they'll be long on the floor. Donovan Mitchell playing well. I has one of my MVP candidates, Marcus. I think this series may go 6.
Okay.
I mean 6. Give me the Memphis Grizzlies. John Moran.
Oh, you gonna take the Memphis Grizzlies too? Okay.
I like
That's
that.
our upset pick.
All right. 2 versus 7. The Phoenix Suns. They got the coach of the year and the GM of the year. Going against
MVP running. Yep.
You're going up against the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers is 7 seed. No 7-seeded team in NBA history has not won an NBA championship. Now listen to this, Marcus. You know what's so funny about this? This 7 seed, the Lakers and the Boston Celtics are the most winning teams in NBA history.
Right.
They got the most banners. They both 7 seeds. So think about that. So X factors in this game, and how many games would it be, Marcus? This should probably be.
I feel bad for the Suns. I really do. I'm gonna say Lakers in 5. X factors being Dennis Schroeder, who was just under the tutelage of Chris Paul, and I'm also go with Taylor Horton Tucker?
THT.
Those are the X factors because I think everybody's expecting like the Lakers to continue to be with Wes Matthews was an X factor in the playing game and Caruso. But I think for this particular matchup, THT, and who I just said his name, feeling real old manish.
Dennis Schroeder
and Schroeder. Those are the X factors. Because Schroeder has to be a pest to Chris Paul. Like he got to be the protege type pest.
All right. Phoenix Suns, my X factor will be Justin Jackson.
Okay. I mean,
This
they got
team is
their whole squad is like X factors if they're not Devin Booker, Chris Paul. So
we know
is acceptable.
I know Devin Booker getting 25 tonight with his eyes closed. A game come on at 3:00. The X factor gonna be Justin Jackson. And the other X factor for the Suns would be Monty Williams.
Okay.
Execution. Know when to take that time out in a heated playoffs. Remember, this is all new to the rest of these guys on this team. This is new. So you got to understand when that timeout is coming, when that halftime out coming. That's going to be execution right there. X factor for the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm going to throw all out the window. I talked about him crazy today. Andre Drummond.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to say tonight, Andre Drummond has 18 and 15. If he give you 18, because they're going to get DeAndre, if they get DeAndre 8 in the foul trouble early, over.
Over with.
Over.
Over with. All right. Okay, I see that.
Because it's going to be over. I originally, before I seen the playoff tree or the bracket, people call it, I said the Lakers in 5. But if these Lakers win the first 2 on the road, over. Sweet. 4-0. I'm sorry you got coach of the year. Y'all got the coach of the year, GM of the year. I mean, whatever, executive of the year. Phoenix Suns. I'm sorry to say this. Get y'all tan lotion out. The Lakers not getting no sunburn out of here. The 4 and 5 matchup, the Clippers and Mavericks. Marcus, X factors for these and who gonna win this series?
Man, I think it's a 7-game series.
Ooh, it's sad.
I'm going with on Dallas. Tim Hardaway Jr. is an X
Okay.
factor. And
TJ.
on the Clippers, I'm gonna go with was it Bobby Schmurder? What's his name?
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson's the X factor because we saw what PG and Kawhi did. They kind of saved that game from getting really out of hand yesterday.
Right.
And I'm gonna add on Rajon Rondo, and Rajon Rondo, and Tim Hardaway Jr.
Mhm.
is the X factors, but I'm gonna go with the Clippers to win this one in 7 games.
All right. All right. Dallas Mavericks. I think the Clippers lost a lot from last year. They're the same team. What's going to mess them up? Serge Ibaka come back into the mix for the playoff. They didn't play hardly no regular season games at all. He's back in their lineup, off the bench, whatever. X factor, if they want to win, the Clippers. I'm going to say if this guy right here plays up to the potential and the Clippers believe in this big man and Zubac, gotta bring it. Gotta bring it. Sorry. That's gonna be the X factor if they want to win. Dallas Mavericks, my X factor is gonna be Jalen Brunson.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel a real New York Knicks today because his dad played for the New York Knicks. So Rick Brunson. So Jalen Brunson is going to be the X factor for the Dallas Mavericks. And low key, another one. You said Tim Hardaway Jr.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely going to say Dwight Finney-Smith. Finney-Smith. Long guard, athletic, not scared, going to defend. Because right now, I'm looking at the Clippers. They're the same. I'm getting the same production. I'm getting 20 plus from Paul George. I'm getting 20 plus for Kawhi Leonard. What is the Clippers bench going to do?
They need playoff Rondo to rein in the troops.
I'm liking Luka the Don, 22 years old, phenom.
Luka Magic. Yep.
Marcus. The Clippers lost on purpose so they won't have to see the Lakers. If they lose,
what a backfire.
If they lose, Marcus,
terrible.
Kawhi gonna be gone. And the sad part about it, not only he can be fired, what's name may get fired? Tyronn Lue.
1 year on the job.
This team has the talent. Everybody's riding. Hey, sorry, Marcus. Hey, Mark Cuban, what's up, man? Man, I got y'all in 6. Give me the Mavericks in 6.
Okay.
Give me the Mavericks in 6.
All right.
Last but not least.
No.
Last but not least, Marcus. The Portland Trail Blazers and the banged up Denver Nuggets.
So I was. Go ahead.
Your X factor and who's going to win this series?
So I'm gonna go with Carmelo Anthony being an X factor. Then I'm gonna take Portland to win the series in 6 games. Because I think Jamal Murray is just too much to overcome. I don't care how good
Facts.
how good the Joker is. It's just too much to overcome against this Blazers team where they're really guard heavy, and then their bigs are serviceable.
Right.
The only reason that they can get past these Trailblazers is if Michael Porter Jr. have an outer body experience, and I don't think it's happening. So I'm going with Portland in 6.
All right. I like that. I'm looking at this series, like you said, out of all the players in the league, Nikola Jokic played every game this season, all 72. He might be the favorite in the MVP because of that. He's the most valuable and the most durable. They lost Jamal Murray early. He still kept that same play up.
Right.
So that's definitely great. That's definitely MVP nods consideration. You know, speaking of Denver Nuggets, their X factor for the Denver Nuggets, I'm going to say this is kind of tough because I thought they lost so much when they got rid of what's the Grant boy name that played for the Detroit Pistons?
Jeremy
Grant. So they lost Jeremy Grant, which I thought was a big subtraction. You got Aaron Gordon. He looked lost out there. He looked lost in the playoffs. He looked lost. Yeah, he was in the playoffs in that bubble in Orlando, but he don't look the same as I thought he was. So I'm not going to Denver Nuggets. Man, I don't want to say Aaron Gordon gonna be your X factor, but if I had to pick an X factor for the Denver Nuggets, if they want to overcome this type of situation, man, it's time for Paul Millsap to step up.
On that side, you end up getting replaced. It's gonna be a Kevin Love there next year if you don't get together.
I'm looking at the play of the Denver Nuggets. Michael Porter Jr., it's a shot that he don't like. He's taking the shot. He literally shot them out the ball game the other night. Capazio, I like his game, but I definitely need Paul Millsap to step up in that role. Now and also PJ Dozier.
Oh, okay. PJ Dozier. That's
Those
a
are my
real
two
under the radar guy.
Those
I
are
like that though.
those are two guys. Who I just said, Paul Millsap and PJ Dozier definitely to step up. I didn't even call Melo an X factor because I already know what Melo brings to the table. Carmelo Anthony, I'm gonna say this for the Portland Trailblazers. X factor. Dame get buckets. CJ get buckets.
Simon's been getting buckets.
Man, they took the words right out of my mouth. Anthony Simons. That's who I would have. That's one of my X factors right there. Simons. And I can't call Melo an X factor because I know Melo will get you about 15. Melo can get you 15 in his sleep. Definitely.
See, I got him as an X factor because I think again one of these games he gonna get you 30. He gonna look like Melo of old.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say this, Marcus. X factor. I'm gonna say Covey. Robert Covington. 6'7" defender.
Plays a lot of power forward for them. Yeah.
They leave him open a lot. A lot of teams leave him open like he can't shoot. He's a bona fide scorer. They leave him. I think they be disrespecting him. I like him because he plays defense. And the crazy thing is he got a mask on and people still be taking shots at him. He be taking them to the team every time. So, man, that dude tough.
Mm-hmm.
That dude tough. He's my X factor. Marcus. Give me the Portland Trailblazers in 5.
Okay, 5. So I said 6, 5.
Gentleman sweep. That's what I'm going with right there. That's who I'm going with right there. So now we're gonna end off the playoff talk. We know they decided to coach of the year already and executive of the year. I was hurt when I seen the finals for the MVP. Jokic, Embiid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the last person was who was that third person for the MVP. Steph Curry. No
Okay.
Chris Paul. No Chris Paul.
I mean, yeah, that's disappointing, Chris Paul. I mean, I would have personally took Embiid out because he missed a lot of games. I think he missed 7, 15, 20 games.
Chris Paul played every game, bro.
And Chris Paul played every game. I would have had Jokic 1, Chris Paul 2, Steph Curry 3, and then Julius Randle at 4. I would have taken Embiid all the way out just because I don't think he played enough games. But if he had played every game, I think he was actually the MVP when he was playing.
Right.
I just Jokic, his consistency and play and availability is just too much. I think he will get the MVP. I just don't agree with Embiid being second. If you're not gonna have Chris Paul second, I will go with Steph Curry second. And the only reason why he's probably not gonna get it is because they played out of the playoffs. So
I'm gonna say this, just because it was exciting to see him, and you probably made a very valid point. Just because they lost and make it. Now, if he didn't make the playoffs, he was getting an MVP. Could this be something in the making of NBA history, something we've never seen? I mean, it probably happened, but I've never seen it. A player winning the MVP but not making the playoffs.
yeah, I don't think they're ever gonna do that. I don't think they're ever gonna do that. I mean, if for anybody, you think like the couple years, 2 or 3 years, LeBron didn't make the playoffs in Cleveland. One of his, I think, was that his second or third year. You could argue he was an MVP candidate that year. And then now this past year with Steph, I think those are like the only 2 circumstances where that could have happened. But I don't think Steph is getting it this year.
Now, just say this happens. Steph didn't make the playoffs. Just say Joel Embiid losing the first round, right? Say if Nikola Jokic losing the first round, who will be your MVP?
It's definitely Chris Paul. I mean, but they probably gonna lose in the first round too. So it's like that would be tough.
I would have to go to Steph Curry.
It,
But MVP right now, Steph Curry is my choice of MVP. But since you broke it down like that, what you said earlier, I think the MVP is going to Jokic. He's had 2 games straight. He did.
It kept the team up, like they didn't fall. I don't think they winning percentage changed when Jamal Murray went out. I think it may have even went up.
They only fell down 1 spot.
Yeah.
Because at first, before Jamal Murray got injured, they was pretty much the clear cut #1 favorite in the West the whole time.
Right.
So that's how I look at it. Anything else you got to say, Marcus? You want to wrap it up with anything?
Just that this Washington Wizards and Philly game is on as we speak, and Washington is giving them a run for their money, and like you said, Alex Lynn and a co-host of other players are just really zeroing in on Embiid every time they get paint touches.
That Galford kid is good.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's better than expected.
So y'all know who that is. This reporting live, this After Hours Live for the Man Cave. This is your host, Tay Wiggs.
Co-host Mark Senior.
We out of here. Peace.